Well, thank you. I love this picture of Elsie smiling. So it's a perfect photo for this prayer. To the winds of the south, great serpent, wrap your coils of light around us. Teach us to shed the past the way you shed your skin, to walk softly upon the earth. Teach us the beauty of your ways. To the winds of the west, mother, sister, jaguar, protect our medicine space. Teach us the way of peace, to live impeccably. Show us the way beyond death. To the winds of the north, hummingbird, grandmothers and grandfathers, ancient ones, come and warm your hands by our fires. Whisper to us in the wind. We honor you who have come before us and you who will come after us, our children's children. To the winds of the east, great eagle, great condor, come to us from the place of the rising sun. Keep us under your wing. Show us the mountains we only dare to dream of. Teach us to fly wing to wing with the Great Spirit. Mother Earth, we've gathered together for the healing of all your children, the stone people, the plant people, the four-legged, the two-legged, the creepy crawlers, the finned, the furred, and the winged ones, all our relations. Father, Sun, Grandmother Moon, to the star nations, Great Spirit, you who are known by 1,000 names and you who are the unnameable one, thank you for bringing us together and allowing us to sing and dance the song of life. To the heart, where it all comes together, help us to feel the presence of the Creator within, to hear and see the spark of life within all your creation. And we ask that you bring blessings to this gathering today as we remember the beauty of the dear soul that you gave us, Elsie, her joy and her happiness and her example in this life. Aho.
Oh, well, I'm honored to share. That was beautiful, Susan. Thank you so much. Really, we are so blessed to just to come together as community right now to honor a beautiful soul. And I want to share something from my tradition from Unity. It's a reading from James Dillett Freeman. And maybe you've heard this before. It's called The Traveler. She has put on invisibility. Dear Lord, I cannot see, but this I know. Although the road ascends and passes from my sight, that there will be no night, that you will take her gently by the hand and lead her on along the road of life that never ends. And she will find it is not death, but dawn. I do not doubt that you are there as here, and you will hold her dear. Our life did not begin with birth. It is not of the earth. And this that we call death is no more than the opening and the closing of a door. And in your house, how many rooms must be beyond this one where we rest momentarily? Dear Lord, dear Creator, dear Infinite Spirit, I thank you for the faith that frees, the love that knows it cannot lose its own, the love that looking through the shadow sees, that you and Elsie and all of us are ever one. And so it is.
So it-
Can't hear you.
What I'd like to do next is to share a little slideshow that I put together with contributions from Roxanne and probably Flo and others here, Kathy. So let me do a little screen share here and invite in our guest of honor, although I know she's already here with us. Listening to those two beautiful prayers, I'd like copies of both of them. It's just so wonderful. So let me see if I get this here. Make sure you can see this. So I hope that brought back some memories of you, for you all. What a beautiful presence and smile. I do have some more things I want to share, but I don't know if anyone wants to unmute and jump in here. You're more than welcome to.
Hi. Oh, I just lost everybody. I just wanted to say that my favorite memories of Elsie are just how much she cared about other people and how much when you were speaking to her or involved with anything with her, how she made you feel like you were the most important thing at that moment. And I just think that is so special. And when, before this call started, I thought, oh, maybe I should draw a card. And I have several Oracle decks, and I picked this one called Spirit Cards. And I just happened to get number one, which was, here, let me get this off of here, which is Goddess Rising. And it is just beautiful. Let me take this off. Okay, that's better. And so I'm just going to read a little brief thing about this. And it says, embodiment, empowerment, awakening. I am the power of the feminine in her full glory, goddess of the chosen ones. I am your beckoning, an illumination of the power you hold. For I am within you as you, representing your full mastery. I call upon you now, sacred one. You are the keeper of great teachings. Open to this now. For I am your destiny and your intuition that is guiding you home. And it just seemed like it was very appropriate. So, thank you all.
Thank you, Flo. Perfect, absolutely perfect. I want to open the mic if anybody else wants to jump in right here, or I can do something else.
I will add that she was the perfect blend of eloquence. She just had an eloquence about her. And she was, all teacher, but then there was also this little girl inside of her, right? That would just come out and play. And so, yeah, she was just such a joy to be around. And yeah, she's just really going to be missed. And even I wasn't communicating with her a lot, these last 4, 5, 6 months, but even the last time that we communicated, she just had this strength about her, and like nothing was going to get her down. So, yeah.
Thank you, Leanne. Thank you, Leanne. Beautiful. I do have, Janet, go ahead.
Sorry, pushed the wrong button. I didn't know she was sick. This is a big shock to me. So I've been thinking a lot. And I can't remember a time when I actually had a personal experience with her. But I feel like I didn't need to. I watched her every time I was around her, and I just felt like I was part of it all with her without having that one-on-one connection. There was something about her that intrigued me, and I loved watching her interact with other people. And I'm sorry now I didn't have the opportunity to be or take the opportunity to actually, and there's so many of you that's true of that, because I'm kind of a wallflower. I just go and that's what I've done my whole life, is just really observe people. And it was fun observing her. It was sweet observing her. And there was a teaching that happened without words. There was an exchange that happened in her gentleness and in kindness and in caring.
So beautiful, Janet. Thank you. Her radiance enveloped us all, didn't it? And it does. And it does.
One more.
Go ahead. Yeah, sure. Jump
Yeah,
on.
can you guys hear me? I'm on the beach, so it's kind of loud. So yeah, it's interesting because I only met Elsie one time, and it was on a Zoom call with Jade Redder, and I just loved her. Like from the minute I heard her speak, I was like, I just love her. And we were like, okay, we're gonna plan new education for the children, and she had this spark of life and this love for the children and this love for educating in a new way that just really cultivated the blossoming of a child's spirit, which is exactly one of my biggest passions. So we connected in that way so fully. And I never even barely talked to her much, because this was kind of close to when she got sick.
But if you all don't mind, I'm going to go to something that it's like Elsie was foreseeing herself. And I've only showed this to one other person, and that's Kathy, because we worked on this a little bit together. So this is something from one of our Thursday night calls. So hold on here.
Did I cut out at a certain point, Noelle?
Yeah, you did. We're going to show a little video now, and we'll come back to you, okay?
Okay.
Maybe you can put yourself on mute.
Okay.
So here's another one of my BFFs. Yes. Elsie, and I won't tell you her anything, but I won't say anything this time. So, okay, so I'm hiding myself,
And then we do have one more person that may come on in a little bit too. Okay.
Okay,
Thank
gotcha.
you so much. This is so much fun. Thank you. Thank you.
I'm having a ball.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem. Say your name for me again. I just want to make sure I heard it correctly.
It's Elsie.
Okay, it is Elsie.
Elsie
All right.
Ritzenhein. Mhm.
Okay. Okay, Elsie. So I will need you to at least give me a theme so I'm not pulling randomness out of the universe. Where would you like to go? What kind of information, what kind of intel are you looking for?
The ability to accept, to be open to and accept stepping into 5D and into the transformation that's been happening for me in that respect, especially with my work.
Okay. Okay. Help me with the visual I'm getting on your work. All I see is a lot of files on a drawer, on a table. I'm like,
That's
okay,
because there are a lot of files and they're
Okay.
still on the table.
okay, because I'm like, that seems so literal, and I'm like, that could be any job in the universe.
Oh,
I'm like,
no,
they're being very specific. Okay,
yeah.
they're
I'm-
being very specific. All right,
I
that
work
helps.
with creativity. Okay. Akashi. I work with creativity and writing and mentoring, coaching, that kind of stuff.
Okay, okay. That's the feeling I got, and the question I was going to ask automatically is, you're a healer, right? Because that's pretty much the category I put all of us in, whether it's hypno coaching, whatever else, we're all healers. That's really what we came on this journey for. But they're giving me two different marker points for you. Okay. So first off, I hear Joe Vitale's voice in my head. This happens a lot. Anytime there's something related to intention and he's yelling and he's going, intend it, just intend it. You are already on the path of acceptance, and it's like you can't accept that you've accepted it. Does that sound, I know that probably sounds peculiar, but you're already doing it. You've already done the things, you're doing the things, there's more of the things coming, and I do mean a lot more. I don't know if you were planning for a busy end of the year, but I feel like now, I don't want to say like in perpetuity because it's not that, but in the next 4 to 5 years, and I'll say it this way, you'll appreciate this from the X-Men perspective. We're on deck. This is it. This is what we trained for. It's our moment, so we all know that, all of us who are in this holistic, in any capacity world, we all have a knowing. And I feel like you are, and I totally get this because I suffer from the same illusion myself very often. I'm not doing enough to get ready for this thing. And they're telling me, and I'm glad that we're talking about this because I just transcended this one very, very recently with the help of lots of really, really good teachers. And they're saying to me, it's the same. It's the same. You're already there. It's already happening. You have a slight concern about what does that really look like, which I totally appreciate. But for you in the journey part, and again, because you follow the call, and they're saying you follow the call well. So when someone shows up that is supposed to be in your circle, or something shows up on your on your table, on your laptop, in your feed, wherever, and you go, I think I'm supposed to do X, Y, and Z with that, you move. You move towards those things. There's not a lot of delay there. So because of that, they're saying you're already doing all the things. They're literally saying, and oh my, God bless, you're so obedient, because I am often not, at least not on the first run. They are saying to me, she always listens. Like, you follow all of it. And they're literally showing me like dot after dot after dot after dot. You follow all of it. You follow the messages. You follow the sensory perception that moves you in a direction. You don't have any questions about, is it, or should I, or shouldn't I? It's just a matter of when, where, how, you just put that, and you're very good at collaborating, putting people, connecting people with either other people or things that really matter to this entire journey, not just for you, but for the collective. This is where you really excel in moving the, wow. Thank you. I feel the need constantly when I talk to other people who do what we do to say thank you, because we don't always get that. And it really, really matters right now what you are doing. There is a massive expansion happening for you in your work. Again, I don't know that you were planning to be on, but you're gonna be on. By December, I don't know if you have fame now, but it certainly feels like by December, there's a real distinct possibility that you are, I don't have another phrasing for this except running with the big boys. There's just going to be a lot of, it almost feels like you're in another world. I know that partially represents the transition that we're all going through, but it represents how your world operates as well. I just get more abundance, a lot of it. In almost every category that you would think of: love, money, faith, calling. So a sense of the calling, it will be even more fervent than it is now, and it is quite now. Boy, you are on the path. This is, sheesh, Kathy's not going to bring me a challenge today. She's just going to bring me a bunch of folks who are fantastic healers. Okay, I could have a worse morning, I got to tell you. This is good stuff.
Kathy will be very pleased to hear what you're telling me.
Yeah. Okay. That's good to know. That's good to know.
Yes,
I
she
feel
will.
like you at times, so the same questioning about, am I doing enough? I also feel like occasionally you still question, I guess I want to say, the veracity of all of it. You know, like when you get into your individual work, and I mean your actual work, what you do, it almost feels like you're occasionally, they're kind of giving me the sense that this isn't all the time. It's something that you are transcending and you're at the very tail end of. It just feels to me like sometimes you're pulling backwards going, okay, is this what I want? You know, like, is this the way I really want this to look? And it's okay to evaluate, but they're saying sometimes they're saying you used to get stuck in reverse. They're saying now you get stuck occasionally in neutral. I love the way because they're moving you up the gears. So they're saying all they want you to do is, after you've given these moments thought and kind of process and said, is this, you know, am I okay with this? Get back to what you're doing, because you're going to be so needed moving into the fall and the winter. You know, as we get into the cooler months, you're going to be so needed. I actually feel like this is the case for a lot of us as well. We won't get the option to kind of chill. Again, this is the moment where Professor Xavier calls on all of us and says, okay, suit up. This is it. And they are making it quite clear that you are going to be on deck and on duty, not only to do the work that you do, but also to be a big connector of people and places and things that matter in this esoteric process that we're all going through.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. That helps me be less anxious. Thank you so much.
Oh, wow. I'm so glad to hear that.
It does. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. That's great.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
Love to you.
Oh, big love to you, just for the work that you're doing. Again, I can never say thank you enough, because it really matters. Thank you.
Yippee! Oh, wonderful.
Beautiful, beautiful.
I knew you would be happy, Kathy.
Well, it's not like there's an echo in here.
Kathy's been telling me this for many, many months.
Oh my God.
I caught that part when you said it. You said, oh, that's going to make Kathy very happy. And she immediately comes on, you know, with all the, I love it. I absolutely love it.
So what Elsie does is she has a way to use creativity for problem solving. And it's fantastic. And they're not teaching it anywhere. They're not teaching it in schools. They're not teaching it anywhere. And we have all these problems to solve, and she's got the solution. And we published a book. She wrote a book. She has the whole system. It's like so cool. Anyway.
Interesting. That is so intriguing. Okay.
So, now I just have to get off my you-know-what and get moving.
Well, okay, well, you know that's coming anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. Thank you both very much.
You're very welcome.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye, dear.
So I'm going to invite Kathy Mason. She might have a few insights to share. And I'll just mention that Kathy is the one that brought Elsie into our family. So
Well,
Thank you.
okay, so I don't know where to start. And I'm still crying. I can't watch that thing without crying. The way I met Elsie is I published a book with Bill Spady in 2013, and she had a chapter in it. And it's called Bringing Heart and Soul to Education, Inspiring Approaches, Transformational Perspectives, and Empowered Learners. And so she was one of, I think there are 11 noteworthy authors that wrote a chapter in this book. And then when we met during this, Bill gathered the experts, and he knew Elsie because she had written a book with 2 other people before this called Generative Leadership. And one of the co-authors of that book was a past astronaut, a woman astronaut. So Elsie had this like huge network of normal brainy people and woo all the way. Then the indigenous that was Susan. I mean, she had so many, and then she also was mentoring all these young teachers. She had just this huge passion for mentoring these younger girls, women that were struggling with the system. So anyway, then she wrote this book, and the first version of it I rejected. The first version was like a PhD thesis. It was all quotes. It didn't tell any of her stories. It was all like, yeah, you're smart and you can do research, but that's not the book you're supposed to write. And so we became fast friends. And I think from 2013 or 14 on, I talked to her at least once a week, every week.
Mhm.
So, yeah. So anyway, yeah. And I knew she was really sick. All along, I've been talking to her every week. Susan contacted me like, hey, what's going on? Kate contacted me. Actually, in those pictures that Noelle showed, that I think I sent you some of those, there's some of them that she's really thin in. And those were during this book, because she almost didn't make it through publishing this book. She had colon cancer that they misdiagnosed, and they gave her antibiotics which made her nauseous until they finally took her to the hospital and she had surgery, but they misdiagnosed her. So I was talking to her every week, cheering her up, because I was scared I was going to lose her back then. And this was, I have to look at the dates because I can't even remember. Anyway, so let's see, this was 2017. So she almost died then, but then came back. And she also around that time had gone to CCC for the first time, and we kind of flipped her out. Yes. In a good way. She wanted to come back. That's why after CCC, she got sick. And the whole thing was like, you got to come back to CCC. So she lived to come back to CCC and share and teach her program with some of us.
Kathy, I think she was there year of Gaia 2016,
16, 18, 19.
18, 19, and she was on the planning committee for 20.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, 16 would be before this one.
Right. Then
Yeah.
she got sick. Mhm.
Yeah.
Right.
So anyway, but what was interesting while she was sick with writing this book is she would get more and more Zen, like a Buddhist monk, every time I'd call her. And I've got the recordings. I think they're all Zoom calls, and I probably have almost all of them. it was so beautiful. She was so, Elsie, it was usually had high anxiety, not when you guys knew her, but when I first met her, high performance, always in a man's job a lot of times in the education system, very, very smart, but having to fight for her stuff, even though she was a music teacher originally when she started. She during her illness, it was like I was talking to Yoda, seriously. And I would say, like, who are you? I mean, I would actually say stuff to her because she was so, it was so profound, the things she would say. And almost like what the grandmothers say, you know, some word sentences poetry. It's like she was doing that. And then when I talked to her like 2 weeks ago, a week and a half ago, I said, well, don't you remember when you were sick, we did that? And she goes, no, I don't. So it was just a piece of her soul development, I guess.
Well, you know, it seems like she was, you know, she said that, you know, when Asaki Kai was talking with her, she was in two different worlds. I mean, believe that she was in the fifth dimension sometimes and in our dimension other times. And, you know, and also when she said you're going to be running with the big dogs and everything's going to be expanded and abundant, I'm thinking like we all think in the physical. We don't think, could she be bringing in what's really going on with Elsie, that she really sees her in this, you know, as Bob calls it, her next spiritual zip code, you know?
Big dog land.
Yeah, in both worlds. But
yeah, so the other thing I wanted to share, and later I might want to read something, but the other thing I wanted to share is that after Noelle shared this with me, and this was one of my conscious business zone things. It was a Tuesday morning, and Asaki Kai and Elsie went and had more readings with her. She loved her because she was right on for
you
it.
know, Asaki Kai commented and when I posted about Elsie.
I saw that. I saw
Did you see that? Yeah, she really.
Yeah, I like her. I like Asaki a lot. Anyway, I contacted Elsie's son, Rob, who I knew. And I'm also, we both were from Ohio. And anyway, we had all this stuff in common. And anyway, Rob, I had a vision of him just throwing all those folders away that Asaki was talking about. And so I figured, what do I have to lose? So I asked for them and he said I could have them because we were already working on a bunch of her courses that weren't perfect enough. That's why they weren't out. That's also what Asaki was saying. It's like you got the brakes on, and that's why I was like, yippee, somebody else is telling her what I've been telling her I saw. But anyway, so I don't know, there's another woman, Stephanie DeMarco, who Elsie was mentoring, that lives in Florida now, but was in Michigan with her and was very close with Elsie, that wants to work with me with the folders, with the files.
Wow.
So it's one of her proteges. So I'm hoping that I don't know what it looks like at all, but I just wanted people to know that hopefully she'll be guiding us to what to do with it and how to use it, because I do believe that this process is a big missing piece to our turnaround. So with that, I'm complete. Thank you.
Thank
I
you,
just wanted
Kathy. Go ahead, Susan.
add on to what Kathy was saying, because I was also struck by when she said, you know, you're going to be on a bigger plane and playing with the big boys. And on our weekly call, we spent 2 hours together every Wednesday with the grandmothers. And Elsie was always sharing that she would talk about her expansion and her experiences, lots of very intense spiritual experiences in the year leading up to her illness. And I often think, like was said earlier, that we tend to think of it's this plane, but I think that her expansion is into that a much greater realm where she can shed her body and be able to really influence and impact us. And one of the grandmothers said, a lot of us just were feeling her in the week leading up to her death. And we were calling each other, what's going on with Elsie and who's talked to Elsie? And one of the grandmothers had a dream where Elsie was going through her dreams. And then yesterday I had an experience in the morning before when we were going to share. And I know that Elsie has transcended her physical body and is playing on in a bigger realm. And I do know that, she's able to contact us and we're able to connect with that light in her spirit, because she did have such a amazing spirit and so much, she was aware of it. And I don't think she was aware of how it was going to take her out of this realm. I don't think she was aware of that. But I do think she was aware that she was leaving this realm. I know that sounds like two things that are different, but I think they're the same. I think she really knew that she had to expand, and what she had to do was more than what maybe she could do here. So thank you.
I also wanted to make sure you guys know Elsie introduced me to Susan. And then I introduced Susan to Noelle so that Susan could show her film. So Elsie was always doing that for everybody. She was like a matchmaker, which I would love to have people think I do the same. I love the whole idea of that. And just think, Susan's film was a PBS special, and I had never heard of it. I would have never known about your work, Susan. So that was just another gift to share.
Yes, and she shared it. We had her on World Unity Week. And what was so great was that she showed her film and then we did after talk. And it was so wonderful. We had 4 films for the 4 nights. And it was such a work of love. And Susan, I think you said it took you like 10 years to do that film, quitting her job, tell us a little bit, Susan.
I think Elsie, this is really all about Elsie today. Thank you for your kind words. I appreciate it. And she was a great connector. Like Kate, I see, is joining the call, and Elsie was one of those people. I think she just loved to mentor and connect. And I think all of us that were on the call with her felt such a blessing of her heart. That was one of the things that came up yesterday, that she was so dignified and had such a big heart, such a warm heart for everyone. And she really loved. And I do think sometimes I keep thinking about that analogy of a bird in a cage. There's only a bird can sing in a cage, but it's meant to fly free. And I think Elsie's soul is out of the cage of her body and flying free in the realm that, and I know that, I'm just excited that her family was willing to give her files, because I know that her work isn't done. I get that from you, Kathy, that her work on this plane wasn't done, but I think it's going to manifest in a way, in a different way, that's going to really bring out whatever was Elsie really wants to say now that she gets it from the other side. So thank you for letting me share.
The only reason I brought this up wasn't to do anything except to let you know how thrilled Elsie was that your movie, that she connected all of us and the movie was in World Unity Week. I mean, she was thrilled about it.
And I was so grateful for her
Yeah.
connecting me with you and with
Yeah.
Noelle and all of you. I know that, you know, like Kate, she was a great connector. And I think that was part of her weaving of her story. She was a weaver and we were some of the strands she pulled us
And
together.
a storyteller and a teacher.
Well, I do have a little clip here of Elsie telling a story, if anybody would like to hear it.
Right. Thank you. Elsie, did you have something?
I don't have a question for Catherine, but I have something to share very, very quickly, if that's okay. I wanted her to know that I have a photo. I don't know if you can see. Can you see this?
Yes,
one?
that's great. Right there. Hold right there.
That's my great grandmother. And my great grandfather. My great grandmother was a full-blooded Cherokee. And they lived in West Virginia. And my maiden name was Gordon, which is Scots. And, the Scottish came and settled near where Bob actually in the Smoky Mountains, near where Bob and Noelle are now, and intermarried with the natives there. She married this grandfather's last name was Hicksenbaugh, so she found a good German man to marry. But what I wanted to share with you is that as I've gotten older, I've become much more attached to my native. It's not nearly as strong as yours, with having a mother who was full-blooded, but I'm much more appreciative of my indigenous background than I was when I was younger. My family never talked about the connection to the natives. It was never discussed. My father was in World War II. There was alcoholism in our family. There was a lot of drama, just lots and lots of things that you were describing, just different context, I'm sure, different story. But Grandma used to come after Grandpa passed away. This is what I wanted to share with you. She used to come and visit my grandmother, her daughter. And I was never very close with Grandma Gordon. I was more so with my mother's mother, who was a farmer, and I stayed with her when my dad was in the war and that kind of stuff. But Grandma Gordon, first of all, Grandma Gordon, whenever she would cook, every meal she cooked fried potatoes. We had if we ate at the house, we had fried potatoes at every meal. And Grandma Hicksenbaugh, when she came to visit, she would come and stay with them. And what I remember of her most is that she would come to the dinner table or lunch table, whenever it was that we were there. She never spoke. I don't remember ever hearing her speak. And my sister, one of my sisters said, of course she didn't speak, Alice. She had esophageal cancer because she smoked a corncob pipe. And she also dipped snuff. And so the thing that I remember most of her, about her, was that she would go to my grandma's bedroom. She had her legs wrapped. She obviously had conjunctivitis or whatever in her legs. And she would sit in this rocking chair sort of in the dark. And she'd sit there with this corncob pipe. And you could see the smoke, coming up from the corncob pipe. And every now and then she'd reach over and she'd dip and she'd put that, across her top gum, under her lip. And she would just sit there quietly and smoke and dip. And she was an absolutely fascinating woman. She comes to me now, though. I wanted to let you know that I know when Grandma is here. And I published a book 2 or 3 years ago, and she was on the dedication page because she'll come when you were talking about your heritage. She was here. I'll hold my hand out, and I know she's holding. That she's here, and she holds my hand. And she came to me through a person who reads for me, and said she wanted me to know at one time that she was really pleased that someone in the family was willing to acknowledge the heritage, the Native heritage. But she is an incredibly special person. She was not someone that I was especially close with when I was growing up, but she had a tremendous impact. I mean, I can still see her. It's as if she's sitting in the same room when she was there.
I want to make a comment on a couple of things. First of all, please tell.
I just thought that was, I just remembered that because Elsie talked about that grandmother on several of our calls. And it was very special to her. And so I just thought that that would be something that would be, especially, she explains, that she was just getting back to her roots, and she did. So I don't know, Susan or Kate, whether she ever told that story elsewhere, but the folks that we had on that call, the Mr. and Mrs. Reimer, Dr. Catherine Reimer and her husband, John, are from Alaska, Indigenous. And they were just the cutest couple. They each did their own Thursday night, and the stories they shared. I got to tell you, I got to blow our horn. Those Thursday night calls are really special. They're really special. So anyway, that one just stuck with me. I said, I'm going to find that. And boom, it didn't take me but 2 seconds to find that video. But anyway, I just thought you would enjoy seeing that. So I don't know if anyone else wants to jump in here before we bring this to a close.
I'd like to share that when I distinctly remember her arrival at the first convergence. There was Talia working the registration desk, and we were upstairs in the living room at in the conference center, and there was everybody's different people have described it in your own words. Her presence was just like joy just jumped in the room. There was a lot of joy in the living room that day. It was a big event, and it might have been the first time we did registration upstairs. And her presence was just immediate and full of joy. And Kathy, your journey through her times at the Convergence gives more context to me, because I remember that in the first year she was stand back. There have been a few people who came to the Convergence the first time, and it was quite an experience for them as something very different. And then after being there for multiple times, it's an evolution. It's an evolution for us as a group, as well as the individuals. And she, and I remember that she had been away for a year because she wasn't well. And when she came back was probably when she did an experience with us. I don't know whether it was in 18 or 19, but she, it really was a different feel for her. You talk about her being just different, zenned out or whatever, but it was her ever-present joy was there, and a river running deep. Just really a very peaceful space that she seemed to be in that second time that she came. And what I always remember her doing when she was at the front of the room or when she was sharing with any of us, always felt like, and of course there was the year that she adopted Nicole's daughter, Aubrey. And I always felt like she was the ever-present teacher. Mm-hmm. And she could talk to the part of us, I don't know, was it Leanne that said there was a little girl inside of her too, in her energy and in her way of being with us. And I really like what you said, Janet, about observing her from a distance, interacting with other individual or a small group of people, that she was always teaching. She was always very connected to me or whoever she was connected with at that moment. They were the only thing in the world. And that it was, I just thought to myself always, what a joy it would be if Elsie could be the teacher of all the children of the world. It's just really, really special. Very special. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Beautiful. I just felt so lucky that she was on the Weaver team. So, you know, for 2020. And, you know, Elsie was always about the possibility space, the possibility space. And so we had one theme that was like co-creating new visions, thinking, okay, it's 2020, co-creating new visions, that works. And then COVID hit, and then she says, how about portals of possibility? Yeah. So, well, yeah, that's great, Elsie. But I don't know if anyone wants to spend any more time, but Kathy, did you have something from CCC that you wanted to do a screen share on?
Well, I sent that one video as a presentation, but the reason I wanted to explain what I had said about her being shocked. I think her first experience with CCC, even though she felt really connected to everyone, she was shocked that there were others like her. And a lot of the people that I bring, it's like, hey, you're not alone. There's a bunch of us crazy people. and we can have some fun co-creating together. But I think that was her first thing. She had been mostly doing everything as an educator, as a grown-up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon, so she was, at first she was put, you know, like, what do I do with this? And then she couldn't wait to come back.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Can I
Go
say
ahead,
something?
Roxanne.
Oh, please.
It takes a minute for me to get into my belly and hear myself share. I just want to presence how grateful I am to be in the elder community that's been flowing all these years, and coming to visit in a memorial sense is actually very appropriate, because we are all rebirthing at this time, and feels more genuinely open to than some of the other losses I've had in recent years, to just be with the dance of transition. I didn't know she was ill either, and you know, it's a heartbreak for us all when we see this beauty and all the potential, and then our sense of it not being here, especially with so much need at this time. And I feel very assured, and all my cards and inspiration right now are pointing the way also with you, but even more, I feel like she really validated some of the, to me, she ticks off the credibility factors that I myself have been working later in life on, where she had that up in center, but she sees into my soul. I got a little vision with her earlier today, and just sees, oh goody, you know, you've got this essence thing, go for it, don't hold it back. And I can feel the mentorship, and I'm just really excited to feel that right now, so we can all be together. You know, it's not random. So anyway, thank you. And just seeing everybody's face, Barbara and Janet and Kathy and all of you, and oh my gosh, I feel like there she is, networking us together again.
Come to Texas.
that venue, the layout and the plan is so inviting.
You would go crazy there. There's a lot of fairies.
Oh yeah.
She's a fairy grandmother, that one.
Yeah. I don't think, Kate, have you spoken into the circle? Would you like to join in the circle?
Actually, I apologize for my tardiness. We did honor Elsie yesterday in the grandmother circle, and I'm sure, as everyone knows, how special she was to each of us. She was just one of the most brilliant, fun women I know. She was kind of timeless. Like I say, the circle she had with Aubrey, and the playing on the playground of possibility with Elsie was one of my favorite things to do. And, you know, it was expressed by one of the grandmothers yesterday that, you know, we lose a lot of people, especially at this age. And I usually roll with it. But man, I really miss her bad. I'm going to miss playing with Elsie. So just wanted to show up and honor her and just, I knew she, you know, I'm surprised the room isn't packed because she touched a lot of lives and just loving you myself.
Thank you.
Well,
Thank you, Kate. We have many people send regrets, you know, and when it's memorial, you really can't plan with it for it that well, you know? So it just needed to be when it needed to be. And that's why we did record this so others can join. And I think I'm going to play the slideshow.
Noelle, can I say one thing quickly?
Yes, you may.
Thank
In
you.
here.
I really appreciate you guys doing this because hearing now things I didn't know about her, it's like I think about my mother and my brother. I'm glad they're on the other side. It's like they can do more. I sent a message to Marianne Williamson this morning saying, I'm so glad you're not eaten up by the tasks of being the president right now, because the things that she's putting out guide me every day in how to deal with all that's going on in the world. And I feel like Elsie is in that same place that, you know, there's some of us need to, not me, but a lot of you, some, and none of you guys, but it's nice to know there are people on the other side that you have a connection with that are helping us through this. So
yeah.
the Lord works in perfect divine right timing and divine right action, and we need to trust that.
Indeed.
Indeed. Well, I think what I'd like to do is to close by just showing the video one more time, that the slide video. Okay, I don't know if the pals want to jump on. We're just closing now. I see I don't see them, but if you want to turn on your video and join us and have a word before we close, you're more than welcome.
What was Sarah's comment about her going out with the vaccination? I didn't understand that piece.
Okay.
Well, we never know, you know, I don't want to really go into it.
I just, maybe I was the only one who didn't know.
Yeah, no, she had leukemia, and some feel that it was caused by the second vaccine shot. Her doctor didn't think that. Maybe she felt that, but I just really rather avoid any, you know, she and God and her creator know exactly what happened. And I think that's what counts. It's between them, but she did have leukemia. It's a diagnosis she was treated for. So I think it's fair to say that. So thank you, Janet. Welcome, Talia and David. We're just closing. If you want to do.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, if you do want to jump on here and just say a few words, I'm going to show a slideshow to close. But if you just want to say a word before we do, you're more than welcome.
And we recorded for you guys, so we'll get the playback to you soon.
Yeah.
Oh, great. Thank you. Thank you for that. Just remembering Elsie, and wonderful to see your faces here. Some I don't know so well, but many of you, oh, it's so good to see you. Oh, I think they put it up on the big screen. That's nice. Well, just I just one thing that really touched me. The first time I really spoke personally to Elsie, she came to sit beside me at the we were over at the theater for some big event at CCC, and she came over. She said she just wanted to talk to me because she wanted to be our mascot, Dave and I. I think, Kathy, you had told Dave, would he come and talk to her? As she was a new person coming into CCC. And so she had really felt warmly toward Dave. And then she said, she wanted to honor both of us. She wanted to be our mascot. And so she came and sat next to us and just talked to me through that time we were together at the theater. And then after that, and then the last time I saw her, we stayed together. And I don't see Linda Rosenthal here, but she was saying also that she had a time when she got to share an apartment with with her, and
At Sunrise.
at Sunrise, yeah. And so she was our apartment mate. I think it was the last CCC. I'm remembering it that way anyway. And so that was just a really sweet way to get to know her even more deeply. And I remember we both wore orange, and several of us wore orange. I think, Noelle, you were one of those, and there were some others too who wore orange on that day, and we were the orange goddesses of CCC. I still have that picture. It's the last picture I have of her. So just really dear, sweet memories of her. I just remember we both got dressed up and, oh, we're wearing the same color. Oh, let's put on some orange scarves.
Well, you'll see that picture when we do the slideshow. David, did you want to say a word? Did you want to bring your voice in here?
Well, yeah.
Thank you, Talia.
It's always kind of a shock when you lose a friend like that. I mean, no matter how much you sort of know that we're all going to reach that point, it still comes as a shock, and especially someone so beautiful as Elsie and so loving. And yeah, I'm just going to miss her. I loved her.
Yeah, one more thing, if I might add. Did you want to say anything else, Dave?
No, that's good.
We just had my sister, her youngest daughter, my sister Sonia's daughter Heidi, her baby is trying to come through right now. So it's just sort of like, and losing Elsie and then now accepting this new one into life on earth. It's just makes me see how the darkness and the life, the light, the death and the birth, how we come and go on this earth. And it's just the natural cycle. It's just a heartwarming thing to feel that and to know the beauty of life is unfolding as it should. And just wishing Elsie, wishing you beautiful journey onward, and maybe we'll see you again. Look forward to that day. Bless you.
Well, what I plan to do is just to show the slideshow one more time, and then just close in silence. You can leave as you want. And thank you all so much for coming to this gathering. Elsie, we just love you so much.
Yes.
Can't get rid of us.
One of the things that I did not mention to you when we first began is that that I wanted to offer this opportunity to think about questions from your own true self before you all fall asleep. I mean, I'm just saying that. We'll be moving around here in a second. Because this has been my journey, actually, for the last year or so. It's probably been coming for much longer than that. But my question to myself is, who is my own true self at this stage of my life? Because it's a different stage from where I was 10, 15 years ago. And I often say, because I am an elder, that the amount of time, although Paul gave me a bit more time this week after I talked with him, that I have less time from now until I have to stop than I had from the time I began up to this point. So I'm very careful to begin to look at what the possibilities are, rather than simply sitting and vegetating for the next 15 or 20 years, because I expect to live till 100, 104, whatever, you know. So,
Elsie, the plants got very excited about that.
I'm sorry, the plants got excited? Oh, good. It was like the llama this morning. Before Noel caught me with the llama, he and I were communicating about that as well. Les, I know, but it lasted for a moment. It was worth it. So, here's what I'd like you to do. And I'm going to offer you an opportunity, maybe think about questioning, working with each other. We're going to work in dyads again, similar to what we've done this week. When you find your partner, I'm going to ask you to share. Each of you will have, we have enough time to do, each of you will have 10 minutes. I'm going to watch the time pretty carefully because we do only have the hour. So each of you will have 10 minutes to share with your partner your question, why the question, how it's connecting with your own true self, why you feel it's important, whatever it is that you want to do. I'd like you to think about, and I know I'm going to ask one of you to kind of watch the time, because before you stop, I'd like your partner, before your time is up, to ask you what is called an open and honest question. if you take a look at the questions that I gave you on this second sheet, none of them are yes or no questions with a yes or no answer. So an open and honest question is not a question that says, so are you getting old? How long do you have to do this? You know, so are you think you're going to do this? You think it's going to be worth your time? The questions are things like, how does this help? How do you feel? We've been asking open and honest questions all week long. How does this make you feel? Where do you think you might go with it? Can you describe that? One question, one open and honest question. This is what's called practicing your creativity muscle. Just think about the creativity of a creative question that you can ask that's open and honest. That person doesn't necessarily need to answer full out, but it is a question back to them that gives them an opportunity to think further about it when they take this home. And then when I ring the chime, switch. And the other person then begins. But try asking each of you an open and honest question of your partner before we have to finish. Okay? So if you find a partner, you can.
Elsie, can I ask you one?
Sure.
How come you only inspire creative women?
Because the book that I wrote, the subtitle of the book is Women in a World of Possibility. So the business that I have is working with inspiring women in this time.
You should do so much more than that.
Well, thank you. But this is the time when the feminine energy is literally being amplified and is growing in the world.
Thank you for streaming Dawn out on that. I appreciate that.
But it's not just for women, as we all know, because the awareness is much, much larger. Which is why I was talking to Judah this morning about what he's doing with the men. But it really came from that work. Because I think the women need to think about how they can do things differently. So, okay?
I had to put you on the grill.
That's okay. That's good. That's a good question.
You had an open and honest question.
He did. He asked an open and honest. Donna?
This is very practical. So is it 10 minutes each or 10 minutes together?
No, 10 minutes each.
Okay.
And I'll watch the time pretty carefully so that we have time at the end, because there's another stage to this, okay?
Okay.
10 minutes each. Find a place as quickly as you can.